I want to add VFX into my game's map creator.
Boom.
You know, those visual elements in video games that create immersive and exciting gameplay experiences. They can include explosions, particles, weather, lighting effects, smoke and fire. And you probably get the idea by now. Game VFX are very important to create immersion, communicating important information to the player, and creating, well, a good looking video game. So, overall, games VFX play a key role in modern video games, and they enhance the player's experience. And well, now that the map creator for my first person TTRPG VTT as a 3D model importer and a terrain sculptor and painter, of course I want to further bring the map creator to life through the use of VFX. So, in this devlog I will show you how I implemented a library of various effects and how they work in my map creator, topping it off with the creation of a brand new map in my application. So, let's get on with it. I came up with the following list of effects. It's quite small, but I feel this selection can be used in a ton of different situations and serves as a good base for now. We have the detail effects like fire, floating particles, water, smoke and grass, and then we have the weather effects, so the GM can achieve the desired look to their maps, be it mist, snow or rain. Another one is individual lights. This will be quite important for maps that represent interiors because you won't be able to depend on the global illumination. So here's how they would work. We will have this new effects UI window that will be populated with buttons. Each button will simply spawn the desired effect. And with that piece of UI functionality done, I needed now to create the effects that were going to be spawned. For some of these I simply went to the asset store and downloaded already made VFX that were available for free. This is what the fire looks like and this is what the water looks like. The cool thing is that I reutilized the transform handle from the 3D models to control the positioning, rotation and scale of the effects. For the others I mainly used the Unity's particle system to create the desired effects, and here's a rundown of them all. This is the floating particle effect. Looks good. This is the smoke, and this is the mist. They're both very similar, and the next two I really like. The rain one, because I was able to make the particles create an effect when touching the ground. And the same for the snow. You might notice that they stay a bit on the ground after touching it. Now, I'm not an expert at using Unity's particle system, and I was only able to do this thanks to the various tutorials freely available on YouTube. And hey, if you're enjoying the video so far, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really does make a difference. Now for the lights. While the other effects were simply a drag and drop situation, these required a bit more setup because I wanted the GM to be able to customize the color of the light as well as its strength, so this called for a specially wide segment just for the lights, as well as the implementation of a color picker. Thankfully I found a quite complete one on the asset store, because I had no idea how I would be able to do this. And after coding its implementation into the UI, we now have a customizable light that can be placed into the map. This is great because lighting is an extremely important aspect to the look of the maps. But wait, there's a detail missing. I wrote here grass, and that's so specific. Why grass? Well, this is because Unity's terrain has an option for details, and I thought that adding grass was a great way of giving the terrain of the maps a bit more depth, because as it is, it can look quite basic and plain with simply the textures. And if you've seen the devlog where I implemented the terrain features, doing the same for grass wasn't super hard, but it took a bit of tinkering with. And since this will require once again brush sizes and opacity levels, I decided to move the grass into the terrain section of the UI. I noticed that it was quite hard to get the amount of grass in a specific location right, because I made it so it placed the grass randomly based on the brush size the GM picks. So on top of it, I added a way of deleting the grass by clicking on the shift button. This way you can mix and match placing and removing to achieve a good look. And since I wasn't happy with just green grass, I decided to add another grass detail that leaned more into the whites. So we had two types of grass to play with, but I'll probably revisit this later. And since I'm talking about terrain, I also added a way to make holes in the terrain. This can be good for situations like cave entrances and such. So, Now, as promised in the beginning of the video, here is a quick demonstration of the current map creator. You may notice I added a skybox to the scene. This was done in the editor just for demo purposes. And I plan to add a skybox selector into the map creator next devlog. So let's get on with it. As has become normal, I started by sculpting the map. I wanted to create a simple grassy field with a road and some hills, since it's probably the easiest thing you can do. Taking advantage of the texture library, I then started painting the hills and the road, and now there's no grassy field without grass. So I added grass patches around the sides of the road, and near the road I added the other type of grass, you know, the white one. With that, I decided that the terrain was complete. Time to add some 3D models. As is usual, I placed the 3D models I already have prepared, the beloved wolf and tree. I then also added the dungeon entrance model to serve as some type of ruin to the top of this hill, and I didn't want to lose a ton of time with 3D models, so I stopped there. Now I started thinking about what effects would go well with this map and environment, and there really weren't a lot. So I decided to create a small pond just to have a little more variety in the scenery, and after adjusting it, here it is, a completed map. And as I said before, just as an appetizer of what I'll be developing next, here is me changing the skyboxes in the editor, and just look at the difference it makes. It's super exciting to slowly start being able to create actually good looking maps, but there's still work to be done. And if you reach this point, thank you so much for watching. Also, if you want to support me and this project, I have decided to open a Patreon, so if you want, consider giving it a look. See you on the next devlog of this, the Metas project.